Good evening, everyone, and welcome all of you, name by name and by post and positions. I'm really honored to be among you here, among this group of scholars that I am proud to belong to. Today's session is going to be quite distinctive one, simply because the task and the topic is quite interesting to me as a person. She is specialized in literature, modern American poetry, particularly. She has graduated from the College of Language, University of Baghdad, 2008, and got an MA degree from the University of Baghdad College of Arts on her thesis entitled The Quest for the Ideal in the Poetry of Longstone Hughes, supervised by Professor Amy Square. And of course, her interest has shifted from then to lots of topics, among them the SD, the ASD, Autistic Spectrum Disorder, and hence our topic today for the use of, drama therapy and the use of rhythm in developing communication skills for autistic children. The topic I think is quite speaking for itself. So I would leave the floor, so with no further ado, to Mrs. Huda Raheem to start her session. Of course, I can't tell you enough that we will leave this time for Mrs. Huda to explain to us the topic, and then we will have around from 15 to 30 minutes of questions, QA at the end of the session. I just want to remind you that the session is recorded here, and so as your comments on the screen. Welcome again, and please, Mrs. Huda, the floor is yours. Start.
Yes. Dr. Ali. And before I start, I would really like to thank Dr. Munal Alwan for her incredible scholarly spirit and for her unprecedented efforts in order to support academia in Iraq. It is useful and informative. Thank you very much. And thanks to the technical team, Dr. Mesa, Dr. Wiam, and all the others who are responsible for this online platform for doing a great job. And it's really a brilliant idea to have this community of scholars to exchange ideas and opinions. Thank you very much. So, let's first of all say that therapy was essentially one of the main functions of drama since its Greek origins. Probably the first thing that comes to mind is Aristotle's catharsis, and to purge the audience out of their negative feelings of pity and fear when they see the tragic hero, and they pity him and fear his destiny, and that's why they would not follow his example. They would avoid this mistake. So, and of course that was in Aristotle's times. Now the same concept of, purging or healing or curing a person is applied in the techniques of drama therapy. But there are differences, of course, in the methods that are used nowadays. Because the difference now is the audience of the performers. Performers are people who suffer from certain situations like trauma, hysterical stuttering, depression, anxiety, etc. Situations that are either emotional crises or psychological situations, and they perform on stage, and the performers will help them to overcome those situations. Okay. This transforming power of the theater, drama, accepting and welcoming environment, the stage as a place in which you can get into somebody else's shoes. So this, magical atmosphere that helps people improve social skills, even for those who are not autistic, يعني, typically developed people, um, يعني, get a lot of benefits out of being. To start with, probably a lot of people are not quite uh, يعني well informed about what autism is. Though nowadays, in every family circle, there is an autistic person or child, because there is a very recognizable growth in the number of autistic children in the last 2 decades. Now, whether this phrase is real, yeah, the number of autistic children has started to increase, or the methods of diagnosis are now, that's why they are. So, autism basically is a developmental disorder. And this developmental disorder is systematic. Yani the whole body is affected by this developmental disorder. And usually autism comes as part of and parcel of other problems. Yani weak immunity, digestive problems, other things that are usually very um, common with autistic children. And the thing with autistic children is that they communicate, interact, behave, and learn in ways that are different from most other people. Of course, now we have a spectrum. Yani there are a lot of variabilities and presentations of autism. Some of them are not identified, yani they are not patterned, categorized till now, because there is a huge difference and variability in the symptoms they show. So, but basically, autistic children face problems in three main fields: the social relational challenges, communication challenges, whether verbal or non-verbal, because some autistic children, especially in severe classic autism, most of those children are unfortunately nonverbal. They cannot speak. But this doesn't mean, of course, that they do not understand what's going on around them. They just can't express themselves. Others are verbal, that's in mild to moderate autism or high functional autism, that is, uh, autism with children who can't speak or who actually can't speak. The second field in which they face problems is the sensory system problem. يعني imagine that you are capable of hearing, seeing, smelling, sensing everything that is around you. Of course, this would definitely drive you mad because, to be able to be aware of all those things يعني, at the same time, it's really confusing, and there would be a very loud noise inside your head. Add to that the noise that you already hear outside. So it's double the noise or triple the noise. يعني, so we have, a blurred kind of sensory system because of probably their senses are more alert, more sharpened than other people. and that's why they can't endure loud noise or certain colors, okay, because they can't deal with them. They are too much for them. And the other field, which is also a great challenge, yani a big challenge for them and for their caretakers or their parents, is the need for control. The predictability of, the environment, because they need to, they are very confused most of the time. There's so much that's going on inside their heads, and that's why they need to feel safe to comfort themselves. And that's why they resort to repetitive behavior, which is, typical of human behavior. We all feel safe when we have a pattern. For autistic children, that's, excessive, and it is, extreme because, as I told you, their sensory system is different, and that's why they feel that they need to control their environment. Now, of course, problems in sensory system, in communication skills, including eye contact and all other things, verbal and nonverbal communication, will definitely result in problems in cognition, in how they perceive the world around them. So, the social skills training in autism often includes a variety of techniques like group intervention or modeling, is a very important aspect in theater. Now, why to choose the drama therapy in particular to improve social skills for autistic children? Of course, in autism, um, probably after a while, you will be very sure, if you are dealing with an autistic child, will be quite sure that you can't get him out of his world. They seem to be, stuck inside their heads. And you think that probably they like it this way, but of course they don't. Yani, it's safer for them, but definitely it's not fair to leave them there. So the trick is that if you can't get them out, so then you have to get in and win the ground for them. And the techniques of drama therapy is used just like a Trojan horse. We take what they like repetitive behavior, stereotype behavior, rhythm, like, imitation, if they are capable of imitation. Some of them are capable of imitating others, imitating gestures, facial expressions, even words, sounds, and voices, okay? So, using such things that we know autistic children like and enjoy to penetrate their world would be very helpful in helping them out of their isolation. And basically, there are two approaches that I'm going to be presenting today. First one is a very remarkable approach, which is the Kelly Hunter heartbeat method. Now, Kelly Hunter is an actor, a director, and an educator, and a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company. And she started this program in 2007 with a group of children who were all autistic, with different degrees of autism, okay? And she used this series of sensory drama games to indulge children on the spectrum by the use of rhythm, gesture, and facial expressions to develop attainable life skills for them. Now, and she depended majorly on Shakespearean drama. Of course, most of you know that the Shakespearean drama is mostly written in blank verse. Most of, if not all, of Shakespearean plays are written in blank verse. And blank verse means unrhymed iambic pentameter. So the rhythm that Kelly Hunter uses in those training sessions, in those drama sensory games, are majorly based on the iambic pentameter, which is the heartbeat rhythm. You know, the iambic pentameter goes like titam, 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 which is, you know, the heartbeat, the rhythm of the heartbeat. And she, you know, came up with this new technique of teaching autistic children facial expressions, recognition of facial expressions, awareness of, you know, spatial awareness, you know, how to keep space between you and the others, because, you know, most autistic children are not quite aware of that. And this transformative experience is based majorly on those 4 words that Shakespeare repetitively mentions in most of his plays are eyes, mind, reason, and love. You know, in Hamlet, there is this line in which Hamlet says, "I see my father. I see him in my mind's eye." You know, so this power of you know, imagination, the poetry of the brain, um, to say how we think and feel, all this, which is this missing ring in the brains of you know, autistic children, uh, is the topic of this method. It's the target of this method. Now, of course, most of the autistic children on the spectrum suffer from anxiety and depression. And this is, of course, one of the results of the frustration they feel because they are not understood by people around them, because they cannot express themselves well. Other studies say that autistic children show higher levels of cortisol, and you know, that's the stress hormone. And probably, I mean, the cause of this is biological, and add to that those psychological factors. So it's really sad to know that this person is suffering because of the stress that he feels because of his inability to express himself well, and because of the others around him who are constantly misunderstanding him. The Kelly Hunter heartbeat method uses the iambic pentameter, this dum rhythm, as one way of creating a safe, stable, steady environment in which they can learn, have fun, and exchange ideas with others. You know, usually this session is composed of 15 people, no more than that. 6 of them are professional actors who are trained to deal with people on the spectrum, not only children but adults also. And the session usually starts with the word hello, hello, which is said to the rhythm of the heartbeat, and with the iambic meter, which is strong, weak, just like the pulse, hello, hello. And then they would continue repeating this word until, the child is quite comfortable, he feels safe, and then they would try another facial expression using the same rhythm with the same word. Yeah, like for instance, an angry face or a laughing face that is saying hello, hello. So the changing heartbeats that we have, of course, the heartbeat is not, it has rhythm, but it's not fixed. It changes with the various emotional situations that we have. If we are afraid, we will have a different heartbeat rhythm. If we are happy, if we are sad, we will have a different heartbeat rhythm. So the basic idea behind this is that, to have at least this safe environment, which is welcoming, which is accepting, which is supporting the autistic child through using ways that the autistic child himself likes, like rhythm. Okay? we, generally speaking, as a human beings, the whole universe is based on rhythm. We have day and night, we have the seasons, all that rhythm, the whole universe. I don't know if you have heard of this theory of the universal chords. The whole universe is interrelated, and it's just like the movement and the systems, just like a symphony, some kind of music in which everything comes according to a certain system. Everything is harmonious, systematic, and at the same time repetitive. Repetition is one of the basic components of the universe. So, to use stereotype and repetitive behavior in order to penetrate the autistic child's world, that's significant in getting him to learn new things through things he most likes. So the other method that I'm going to present is the sense theater, which is a mixture of art and science. And probably here we will get, more accurate study that measures the hormonal levels of autistic children pre and post rehearsal, pre and post performance. And that's why it is called the social emotional neuroscience and endocrinology, that's the abbreviation sense of those words. This theater, as I told you, is a mixture of art and science. We have here a little bit a different experience from the Kelly Hunter heartbeat method. Why? Because within the crew of the play, we have a number of children who are typically developed, and they are not autistic, and they are the same age as those autistic children who are indulged in this performance. And uh, we call those typically developed children as the peers, okay? And most of the sessions that are held try to benefit autistic children through modeling, to give them models to imitate, to try to improvise, um, you know, social situations in which they might act or react or exchange roles with their peers to teach them, not teach them, while to improve their uh, social skills like eye contact, face recognition, and the results of this, you know, uh, method was that the pre and post tests of the cortisol levels. Mind you, cortisol is the stress hormone, and it's recognizably high in autistic children, and that's why they are tense, they are anxious, probably even depressed most of the time. And there's another thing that cortisol does to them, which is it prevents the formation of new frames because it blocks the formation of new frames, and it requires fixed predictable frames. That's why they cannot adapt easily to unexpected situations. They would shout, probably cry, act in, very surprising ways, especially for those who are not autism friendly. There are so many in our societies. Most people now, when they see an autistic child, they either blame him or blame his parents for his behaviors, and they are not at all sympathetic or understanding of the very difficult situations that those people are going through. They are going through hard times and they need every possible help. So the Sense Theatre, as I told you, is a mixture of art and science, and it's also involves the use of music, which is very significantly important in uh, facilitating the learning process for autistic children, because with rhythm they'll get to enjoy things and try to their caretakers would um, use this um, you know their passion for rhythm in order to improve their social skills. Now, much of the human learning occurs by watching and imitating others. And children with autism who possess fundamental limitation ability are able to learn from observation, imitation, and modeling. And probably some of you now have the question that how can this be useful to children who are not in the first place attentive to what's going on around them? Well, as I told you, there are different kinds of autism, and there are different degrees of isolation in the ASD children, or the on the children on the children with on the spectrum. But generally speaking, you know, there, dealing with autism must be multifactorial, and several ways must be tried in order to get considerable results, including dietary intervention. Some kinds of food are preferable for autistic children, others are not. You know, including music and arts and drama to help autistic children to improve their social skills can, uh, play a very important role in a better behavior and adaptation of children with autism. Yes, this is the results of the dance theater tests. These are the results of the science theater tests. The elevated cortisol at the beginning of the initial rehearsal for those children with ASD, which declined over time. And with that, we have also a considerable rise in oxytocin. I know that this is probably scientific jargon, but to make things clear, oxytocin works just like a chemical messenger in the brain. It definitely says that the processes in the brain are different after this theatrical experience, because after rehearsals and performance, there was a decline in the levels of cortisol and a considerable rise in oxytocin. So another factor which is really important and which was one of the results of the sense theater experience, and for me that's the most important factor, because the others are only some evidence say that cortisol might have declined because of those children getting used to the environment, and that's why they are not anxious about the experience anymore, and that's why they got used to the environment, and hence we have less cortisol. But the most important factor to me is that, indulging those peers, those typically developing children with ASD children, was reported to have generalized to school settings and toward other children with disability. And they developed empathy towards those autistic children, and they started to understand what it is to be autistic. They started to understand those peers who were probably previously bullied, isolated, um, because of their uh, differences, because they are different. They show different um, patterns of behavior and different patterns of communication. So, to raise this community awareness about autism is very important because of the leap. It's not a jump, it's a leap in the numbers of autistic children. Now, I don't want to discuss the reasons why we have so many autistic children nowadays, and in a published research done by the Oxford Research Center, it says that Iraq, after 2003, has witnessed a huge rise in the numbers of autistic children. And what is frustrating and what is really sad is that it's not at all documented. I looked for statistics about the numbers of autistic children in Iraq. I couldn't find any accurate statistics. And now I know that now in America, there is one in every 44 children that is diagnosed with autism, with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. But in Iraq, we don't have those accurate statistics of the numbers of autistic people or autistic children. And moreover, the society is not quite autism friendly. Our schools, now in every school there has to be 1, 2, 3 autistic children. They are judged and not supported by their educators, by their peers, and that's really sad. So if this is going to be useful in any possible way, I wish that it would at least raise this awareness about autism, and my very heartfelt wish is that one day we will have in our university an interdisciplinary research center in which we would do community-based research that serves such cases that would meet the needs of the society. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Huda. Thanks a lot. Miss Wiam, can you hear me?
Yeah, Miss Alia.
Okay, Mrs. Wiam. So now we will start with the questions. I don't know if you got any trouble with the hearing clearly, Mrs. Huda, when she was talking. We faced few difficulties. I think it was due to the internet, but her voice kept coming back again.
Okay. Now everything is okay. We have here Dr. Muna has raised her hand.
Okay, so before starting the questions, I just want to remind you that I will post the attendance form on the chat box right now, and it will be open for about half an hour after the session is over, so that we can have your full names and send you the certificate as soon as possible. I'll start with, of course, Professor Mona Al-Alwan. She has a question. She raised her hands. Please raise your hand so that I can see you, and we will take your questions respectively. Professor Mona, please.
Okay. Thank you all for this great, amazing webinar. I just want to say a few words to Huda first. Thank you so much, Huda, for your very kind words. I am not really doing something very special. It's our duty as scholars to keep giving as long as we can. It's a duty and it's a mission to accomplish. So I call upon all scholars to be really giving, to be dedicated to this noble cause. I admire Huda. I admire her so much for her dedication to this noble cause. I love your beautiful face and your beautiful, your beautiful voice. I love your face as well. So I love your face, really. I love your English and your knowledge, and you really set a true example to scholars. I'm so proud of you. And what really attracted my attention is the way you presented your topic, this logical sequence of ideas without, any, interruption. It's wonderful. You started with something very important. Because of your knowledge of drama, it seems that you are, I'm sure, this is your field, I think. So, no, I think you got your master's degree in poetry, but you have great knowledge of drama. You started with the idea of the Greek theater, catharsis in the Greek theater with Aristotle. And this is a very ancient, we always teach this, we used to teach it in literary criticism. We always begin with Aristotle and his idea of catharsis, the purging, the cleansing of emotions. That, in other words, the theater had a moral purpose, had an educational purpose, had a kind of emotional appeal to the audience, and as Aristotle said, the audience were supposed to leave the theater feeling better human beings, better people. So I'm very glad you started with this idea, and you related this idea so beautifully to this theater, this Kelly Hunter's heartbeat method, or the sense theater, which, though it is directed to autistic children, but it really does serve the same purpose. So it is a way of purging, it is a way of cleansing. And I agree with you. I really wish that, we could do something like a center or a research, center for these kinds of studies, which are really so good for our children. Because I know, as you said, Huda, there are autistic children everywhere nowadays. I mean, friends, sometimes relatives, they all have autistic children with varying degrees, of course, of intensity. But it's time we need this kind of work. I hope you're a pioneer in this field. And I hope people could help you, scholars could help you. I don't know whether, like associations, institutes here in Iraq, I hope they could help you do something with this kind of field, which is really great for our children. Thank you so much. I don't want to say more. I could go on saying a lot of things. I love the way you referred to Hamlet. I love the way you talked about the poetry of the brain. I love this phrase. It's wonderful. It really is. It just shows, it reflects the kind of therapy, the rhythm therapy. I love the way you referred to the iambic beat, which is the heartbeat. Everything you said is so interesting. I was just spellbound by your presentation. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. I'm really speechless. Thank you very much.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
Now the next, excuse me, we have Ansam Yarov, Prof. Ansam. Welcome.
Yes.
Good evening to all of you. First of all,
evening.
I really wanted to say a lot of things, but Dr. Mona just said them all. So I'm just going to add a few things. First of all, you have a very, very sweet voice, which make your presentation poetic, We felt very painful for all those autistic children.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And the second thing, I really, really love the way that you use literature for treatment. And I really hope that we can collaborate in something, because I write also children's literature. So if you are interested, we can do something.
Definitely, I'd love to. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Prof. Insan. Now the next we have Mrs. Lamia.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Huda, for this really, really interesting lecture. And I really would like to confirm what you have said and what Dr. Muna Al-Alwan said about the importance of theater in treatment by quoting Oscar Wilde in this respect, saying, "I regard the theater as the greatest of all art forms, the most immediate way in which a human being can share with another the sense of what it is to be a human being." So it's the right way of treating autistic children through drama. The questions I have, to what extent do you agree with this? Because I come across this saying that kids with autism may find learning drama skills easier than kids who excel in a more traditional learning environment. Is this true?
Yes, definitely, Doctor. First of all, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for your words. And incidentally, I quoted that at the beginning of my presentation, the same by Oscar Wilde. Yes, they are very. So thank you for your nice addition. Yes, I do agree. And I actually tried that myself. You know, I have an Asperger's syndrome child.
Yeah.
My son is now 9, and he was nonverbal until the age of 3.
Yeah.
And the first thing I started with to teach him how to speak, or to at least get some kind of communication with him, was drama.
Yeah.
And modeling, you know, because there seems to be some kind of, you know, the disorder lies in this repetitive stereotype behavior. They need a model to follow. They can't just, you know, adapt to new situations or react.
Yeah.
And that's why modeling for them is really important. And drama offers that in a very welcoming, supporting environment. You know, the experience of drama and drama making is transforming for everyone who is on the stage. And
yeah.
so definitely it's really useful to enhance their self-esteem too, because most of them, even if they are verbal, they can talk, they can express themselves, but they feel most of the time that they are anxious, that they are not worthy, because of, probably because of depression. You know, they feel that they are not worthy. And they blame themselves for not being understood.
Yeah.
Well, it's their fault actually, and so the theater offers this great opportunity to make them feel accepted.
Yeah.
Make them feel accepted, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want, if Dr. Alia allows me, 1 minute. If I wonder if you have watched the film Rain Man, starring Dustin Hoffman and Azrae and Tom Cruise, because the film shows exactly how the autistic child behaves. It's lots of repetition and imitation. They imitate a lot, in everything. Even the whole keeps watching movies and television movies and repeating the dialogue all the time. And I think in this way, drama can help a lot, because the beauty of drama, it lets him use his verbal and imitative skills to
Exactly.
practice and learn lines, and these lines they can maybe use in their real life, and that's why it really enhances their social and emotional skills in one way or another. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so
They
much. Yeah.
interactors and not only receivers, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's useful, positive modeling. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for your presence.
Thank you very much, Professor Lamia. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry again for losing the connection. I'm back again, I hope. I tried to fix the attendance form. Please try again for all of you. And now we are going to take questions from Professor Anan. Go ahead, please.
Good evening.
Good
Well,
morning.
I'm happy to be here with you all, and thank you.
Professor Anan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you hear me? Good evening.
Good evening to you. Yes, Doctor.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
go ahead,
good.
please. Go ahead.
Okay, good that you can hear me. Okay, thank you, Dr. Alia. Thank you, Mrs. Huda. Thank you for this interesting presentation. And actually, personally, I find it quite interesting to me because I have an autistic nephew. And it's been so hard ever since he was 2 and now he's 11. And well, and really I found the very idea of drama therapy quite interesting. But of course, I have to say that well, the idea of having a kind of a center, but of course not a center in a department here or in a university, because I have to say that anybody who's involved in this, as you have mentioned, Mrs. Huda, has to be so much aware of such kind of kind of sickness, because any kind of center to be held, at least for maybe for research or for therapy in itself, needs specialists. It's not enough to just to use anything like I'm sure these studies can be of help, and especially is appealing to to certain features that of course, as you have mentioned, autistic children or autistic persons in general, of different kinds, of different levels. Well, I know what I'm talking about, because like it's been so hard for my sister and my nephew, like but yes, the idea of that repetitive rhythm and the repetition of certain perhaps terms and or sentences, and by the way, I believe, don't you think, Mrs. Huda, it's also the music, because like music can be of course you have mentioned the idea of the beat and the rhythm, but music in itself can be of help.
Definitely, yes. In fact, there is one approach that is completely dependent on the use of music to improve skills of autistic children.
So you by drama, but you have mentioned all about like the characteristics of using drama as a therapy. Like you have mentioned of course things about the repetitive rhythm and the beat, and even like even the repetition of certain perhaps sentences or the dialogue itself. Well, like you mentioned something also about I don't know, like that kind of a drama can be of course, like what can we say, it can be from both sides. I mean, like doing a performance would involve the child at the moment of performing in the play.
Yes, definitely. And autistic children are performers in such kind of performances, and they are indulged. And
Yes.
but we have two different approaches. In the Kelly Hunter approach, those only sessions, and we have professional actors who would act a certain scene, specially selected from Shakespeare's The Tempest in particular. and they would each actor would be يعني, acting for a group of children, autistic children. And he would, at a certain point in the performance, he would do a certain gesture or facial expression, and he would start to repeat it. And then he would ask them, or it would be just like a game, يعني, he would ask them to repeat that. يعني, in one of the videos that I have watched, we have a scene from The Tempest in which we have Prospero when he sees Miranda and Ferdinand falling in love. He said, at first sight, they exchange eyes. And then the actor goes, boom, as if his eyes are popping out. So this funny gesture is repeated. And, he would do it at a certain space, from each child, and to indulge them, to make them probably imitate him, to make them recognize that this is funny. At least they would definitely have this cognition, this is funny.
I understand. I understand.
Communicating with them.
Yeah, because of course the whole thing is about developing their communication skills, because that is what they really lack, and I'm not sure actually about the idea of self-esteem. Perhaps, I don't know, it depends on on what kind of autism, because I don't know, like for my nephew, who he doesn't, because he's in his own world, so it's not that he doesn't care. I mean, I don't know, of course perhaps this is in his head, but it's because he's not looking for attention, and but he knows very much that he's loved. That is, I'm sure that he knows that very well, but he doesn't really you feel that he's in need of he doesn't of attention or anything.
I'm sure that he knows, he just can't express it.
Yes, but yeah, of course. The idea is that they're all about expression. Yes, well, it's.
The channel between their brain and their body seems to be blocked somehow. They feel things and they understand things quite well, but they can't express them. Yes. Especially if they are not ready. Yes.
But of course, provided that once they have the language, because it's not that now my nephew is capable of expressing himself, and he loves the music. He plays on the organ, although nobody taught him, and and he loves to sing. And the idea of really the performing, when I was with them, he made us all sing. He thinks that we know all the songs he knows. So we were repeating after him, and then we made us sit all together and then repeat, and we do repeat with singing and clapping, and we spend but these moments are not that many during the day. That is the thing, because still there is something in their brain, and that part, the certain part there where you talked about that enzyme of the cortisone or whatever it is. It is, nobody knows, by the way, why this kind of sickness exists anyways, and there is no kind of a medicine, but sometimes unfortunately a medicine is needed, and because therapy, the regular kind of therapy with daily exercise with things and communicating with life, that sometimes even doesn't work without medicine. And
if you are interested, there is a very interesting research on music that is entitled "The Music Interaction Therapy for Autistic Children" by Yvonne Winfrey, Paul Chadwick, and Susan Nash, published in the American Psychological Association. And so all what you have mentioned is actually tested, documented. The effect of music on the social development of autistic children is quite important. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and functional, really, it is. It is. Oh, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mrs. Huda. I really appreciate this, this presentation of yours, and you really did enlighten us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Anan. Thanks a lot, Mrs. Huda. Any more questions from the group? Okay, Mr. Awaz or Mrs. Awaz, Mustafa. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Go ahead, please, Ms. Awaz.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes. Thanks a lot for this great subject and this great webinar. We all need it. Really, we like information concerning children with special needs. I'm talking from the Hook. I'm from University of the Hook. Really, Ms. Huda did a great job. Well done dealing with such cases. Using drama is interesting. Drama is interesting. We can get benefit from drama in such cases. Well, 3 years ago, I did a research about the investigation of English as a foreign language teachers' challenges of autistic learners in inclusive schools in Duke City. We have some schools which are inclusive, so they deal with children with autistic or autistic children with autism, and they have many problems. Honestly, they suffer from many problems in our in our schools. The main problem they suffer from was the lack of program. They don't have special or specified programs for such kind of children, so they use the same or the normal program for them. So such research or such experiments will be of great value in these cases. Well, and the second problem was that the lack of social interaction and communication. So dealing with them using drama will make them, to act, to do role plays in the classroom. So it will help them to have social interaction and communication between them. This is good. This is great. We can get benefit from this research in our schools, especially inclusive schools. Well done. It's really interesting.
Thank you for your.
Yeah. We had many other problems like unusual emotional reactions and expressions. And also we like to train teachers in terms of teaching children with special needs, all special needs, autistic children, children with Down syndrome. We also the problems of curriculum and the syllabus, and also time and effort from teachers. They spend the usual time in classrooms to deal with all students. They don't have extra time to spend with such cases or such students. Parental involvement also was included, so they suffer from parents who rarely ask about their children, and they even don't know how to deal with them, honestly.
Yes, definitely. I couldn't agree more. Definitely, what you have mentioned is 100% true. We lack the right people, the right educators, the right places for education. We have now an urgent need to, at least, if we don't have special schools for them, at least there should be special classes or special training for teachers, that they would know how to deal with those meltdowns. Sometimes they would just have one of those anger fits, meltdowns. They would be really angry and, small detail. So, يعني a typical would definitely judge him or blame
Yeah,
the behavior.
yeah, you're right.
Yes.
People find, face difficulties with dealing with them, families, parents, people, children in the neighborhood. They don't know how to play with them. They don't know what to play, what kind of play. So they suffer a lot. The children with autism or autistic children suffer inside the family, in the neighborhood, in schools. Really, they need help. They need us to help them.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ms. Huda. This is good. It was great to have this experience with you. You are really appreciated. Well done. Thanks, Ms. Muna, for letting me to participate in this webinar. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ms. Awaz. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Awaz. I hope that Ms. Huda is still bearing up with us. Are you patient enough to take another question, Ms. Huda?
Definitely. Especially that it's Dr. Isra. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, Dr. Isra is raising her hand. Please, Dr. Isra,
Hello.
go ahead.
Hello.
Jalal.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Alia. Hello, Huda. Thank you very much for this interesting, useful presentation.
Please forward your question to Mrs. Huda, please.
Yes, okay. My question is that are there plays written specifically for this purpose, therapeutic purpose, or only acting well-known plays, selected scenes from well-known plays?
Yes. Dr. Isra, I mentioned that in the television the plays that are used are and one play in particular, which is The Tempest. In the theater, that are written specifically for this.
Okay, I see. Perhaps I lost connection when you mentioned it. Okay, I will check this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Fatima Rahim, direct your question to Mrs. Huda, please. It's your turn.
Thank you good evening, everyone. Thank you for this lovely presentation, Ms. Huda. I have one question. If the autistic children, autistic people, do have this repetitive behavior, how comes that they are following certain modeling in the performances? How far this is useful for them? Because they are not, let out of this repetitive action or behavior or performance. How is this helpful if they are put in the same situation?
Well, the patterns that are introduced are impede in social situations. And the idea of, presenting new models that are useful for them, to know, for instance, them how to act in a certain situation.
So they are given new identities, or they are, engaged in new personas?
Yes, they are allowed to interact.
Yes.
And that's this drama game is just like a Trojan horse. I mentioned that at the beginning of the presentation.
Yes.
Used in order to break the frame.
But they are put in another frame. This is the problem. Are they really treated afterwards when they are not performing the play? Is their behavior not the same anymore? Are they really genuinely treated? This is the question. When they are no longer in the same environment, when they are not involved or engaged in a certain role, are they themselves again, or they are no longer autistic?
No, as severe as this would be,
Yes.
so far there is no 100% treatment of autism. Yeah, that's in such kind of methods, if to improve social skills and communication skills for those children.
Okay.
And the theater environment is really suitable because it allows them to act within the frame, and probably at some point they would interact. Yes,
because these are under the pressure that they are themselves the autistic children, so they are aware of the people's treatment for them. Yani people are cruel sometimes.
Definitely, yes.
Most of the times, wallahi, with autistic children.
Yes, yes, definitely. And you know, this is somehow liberating, you know, to be in somebody else's shoes, to enact a different character, a different personality that is not you. It's liberating, and probably they would like that. And you know, whether we like it or not, we are all following certain frames.
Sure.
I mean, there are fixed frames that we move within. The thing with autistic children is that the number of those frames is really okay.
Yes.
And in cases, it's not useful for them.
Yes.
Because centered around the self, their inner world. So how to get them out through using new frames? True, they are still frames, but those frames would allow them to interact with other people, real interaction, not only modeling. You know, modeling is useful in teaching them probably other things like academic things, while in the social skills are prioritized. They are a priority here, and interaction with peers, as in the sense theater, or with actors, professional actors who are trained to deal with autistic children.
Yes, and you mentioned this with also the peers themselves. It is therapeutic to the peers as well, and it is not only therapeutic to the autistic children. It teaches those in front of them to be more sympathetic, more understanding, which is, you know, it is useful to both sides, to both parties.
Definitely. Yes. And it even spread to the school environment, and to create this kind of autism-friendly environment. I think it's enough. If we achieve that, that part of this kind of method, it would be a great achievement.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fatma. Thank you, Ms. Huda. There are a few comments on the chat box. I don't know, Ms. Huda, can you read the kind of a praise and thanks that are given from your colleagues here for the interesting and really fruitful and informative presentation? I had a couple of questions, but luckily enough, my colleagues has already given to you, and you've knowledgeably answered them. I just want to add that there are a few websites that anyone who is interested in this kind of therapeutic drama can check. One of them is created by a group of professors from University of Iowa, USA, called Drama for Autism, and I think I can put the link here for you if you want to check it later. And I think it would be helpful to you also, Ms. Huda, to check what they are doing since a very long time. Drama has always been a kind of a way of expression, a way of a kind of a let out of all what we got as normal people. What about people with autism, and I think they would appreciate drama even more, because their sense of what is around us is and more stressed. And I can't add anything to what Mrs. Huda has clearly clarified to all of us. Thank you very much for your efforts, and thanks a lot for your genuine interest and genuine hard work to bring this to all of us. Thanks, Ms. Wiam, for the technical convening. Professor Mona Al-Alwan, the one and only who brought us all together here and will always be the source and the light that will show us the light to days to come. Please, Professor Mona Al-Alwan, go ahead, speak up. Professor Mona, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you there? Sorry.
Yes, I am.
No, I don't have much to say because so much has been said, and I just want to thank everybody for being present and for enjoying this. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every minute of it. I enjoyed your questions, your comments, and I'm really honored by the presence of all of you. Thank you so much. God bless you. And Alia, I am really grateful to you, my dear. You've done a great job. And we am also, my God, thank you so much. You've done great. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Bless you, Professor Mona, and bless all of you guys for being here. Mrs. Huda, please have a final word here.
Yes, I would really like
Mrs.
to
Huda?
thank you. Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, it has been a pleasure and an honor to be with you tonight. I can't thank you enough, Dr. Muna, Dr. Alia, Dr. Mesa, and Dr. Wiam, and all the people who are responsible for this online platform. Thank you very much. The question for people who asked the questions, you enlightened me about so many things. Thank you very much for your presence and participation. It was really useful, and I hope it was useful for you too. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Thank you all. It's really a heartwarming thing to see all these names here together today. It's a blessing that we are having you, all of you here. Thank you very much to everyone. As I can have the attendance form here, people, and I would assume that this is the number of the attendees here. So I would allow the form to be open for only 10 minutes after the meet is finished, so that if anyone couldn't catch it, can catch it last minute, and then I will close the form and send it to Professor Sana to issue the certificates. Thanks a lot, everyone. Good evening and good night to all of you, wherever you are. Thank you very much, Wiam, for helping with that.